friends, and welcome to another episode of Fort Worth Roots. You can find Fort Worth Roots on all of your favorite streaming platforms, Pandora, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. We're also on YouTube and on all social media. Just look for Fort Worth Roots. This is a Fort Worth-centric podcast. We are independent. We're doing this all on our lonesome, and we put out 5 episodes every single week at minimum. Sometimes we do as many as 9 or 10. So if you're looking for information about what's going on in your backyard here in Fort Worth, Texas, then we encourage you to tune in. Our morning show is Monday through Thursday, launches at 9 a.m., ready for you on your way to work, dropping the kiddos off, or whatever other morning activities you might have. And we're looking for partners. We are wanting to find 6 additional organizations that would like to do a weekly recording at their place of business or their 501c, or maybe it's just a local person that would be interested in joining us on the Fort Worth Roots podcast to do an additional episode. Whatever. We just want to do more. So hit us up. media@fortworthroots is our email, and you can also use that email to send in audio clips so that we can play them on the morning show. And that's appropriate for if you got an event coming up, if you're a musician with a gig, or you got an album coming out. Maybe there's a birthday that you want to shout out. It really doesn't matter. Fort Worth Roots Morning Show is a community connector, and it's just there so that you can use it. So let us know. media@fortworthroots.com is the email. And if it's easier, you can also send us, we had this happen this morning, send us an audio file through Instagram. You open up your messenger, and it's got a little microphone. You can just hit that and send us an audio clip that way. We'd like to talk about our sponsors up front. We just got one that we want to tell you about now, and then we tell you about the rest of them at the end of the show. But you can always go to fortworthroots.com and hit that Trusted Sponsors tab and see all the great ways to keep Fort Worth dollars in Fort Worth pockets. Donovan Manufacturing can be found at donovanmfg.com. Night vision, thermals, machine gun rentals, AR-15 parts, classes, and more. Check them out. And on Instagram and TikTok, it's under the same Donovan MFG. Excellent. Our guest today is somebody that we've been trying to get on the show for years now. He's made such amazing progress just in the short time that he's been podcasting and building his Instagram channel. You can find him underneath, or rather on Instagram as 2cops_1donut. And yeah, we're going to get into that name toward the end of the episode, but we do talk about how he came up with that name. And it's is it what you think? Is it not what you think? We'll have to stay tuned to find out. This was a great episode. We did it at his studio at an undisclosed location, and we got to use his equipment and his cameras. The video is super clean, so I hope you guys get a chance to check us out on YouTube as well. And again, that is just Fort Worth Roots. Thank y'all so much for being here, and please give it up for our new friend, Erik, Lavigne, and let's start the show. All right, guys, we're here with Erik Lavigne, the host of 2 Cops, 1 Donut. Thank you for joining us today. Welcome in, Erik.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. It's been a long time coming. How long have we been talking about doing this and then actually getting it accomplished?
I've been trying. I've been barking at your door for like at least 2 years.
You are not the only person, but that's not to sound cocky like I have this huge podcast or something. I don't. I'm also been barking at other people's doors for that long. It's just connecting. We're all busy.
I told somebody yesterday, like you, and in my opinion, you guys are way ahead of Fort Worth Roots. But even at my mild level of success, my Instagram feed, if I leave my phone alone for more than an hour, it's a dumpster fire.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I lose messages. I mean to get back to people, and I give everybody as much grace as I hope they give me, because
yeah, I mean I have guests that have been like, we were scheduled to do this, and then you canceled last minute. For those that don't know, I'm a police officer, and my podcast doesn't pay the bills. So yeah. I'm a police officer in my regular time and military. So I have a job to do, and then the podcast is second.
Well, kudos to you for keeping it going, man, because a lot of people, I put this as one of my services for the company that manages Fort Worth Roots, my company. Mm-hmm. One of the services that we offer is podcast production. And I've been doing this for 5 years, and I have successfully talked every single person out of doing a podcast that has approached me because I'm like, why do you want to do this?
Right. Yeah. I mean, most podcasts last about 10 episodes for anybody to get started. So it's either you really know or you're just trying something out. If it's just you're trying something out for a hobby, you don't need to invest a lot of money.
So for somebody that's actively in the military and a police officer and still running a podcast, and I mean, you're consistent. You do really well. So that's hats off to you, sir.
Yeah. Well, the mission is really the whole point, and it all stemmed from my master's program at TCU, which is, go Horned Frogs. And I had noticed in policing that social media was a great possible tool. And when I'm talking about social media, we're talking 2014, 2015. So it's still,
it's not like it is now.
Yeah, it's figuring itself out. Groups weren't a thing yet. Let's put it that way. When I started having these ideas, groups just became a thing on Facebook. And Facebook was the dominating factor.
Right.
Instagram, none of this stuff. So having Facebook in the forefront, one day we had an idea in patrol that with these new groups, I was like, why don't we create a group for our beat, for our area, for our local citizens, and we'll hand that out. Hey, here's the page. This is what we want to do. We'll make some of our prominent citizens administrators. They can help out. But the whole point is to share information. Hey, there's kids pulling door handles on vehicles. It's 2 a.m. over here. Hey, somebody keeps knocking over a trash can over here, and he's just sharing information and trying to create like a neighbors app that's a thing now.
Yep.
But we were trying to use social media in a new way other than what I like to call propaganda. Oh, look, here's a cop petting a puppy. Oh, here's a cop playing basketball conveniently with 3 different camera angles with, some minority kids in the street.
Propaganda.
And I'm like, who are you trying to win over? You're not winning over anybody that you need to win over. You're placating to people that already like us. So I was saying that there was a better use for social media. I wasn't sure what that was. The group thing was an idea, but I felt that there was more that could be done with it.
Right.
And then doing the thesis and trying to figure that stuff out, I don't want you guys to think I'm a big brain. I'm not. Trust me, I was a C student in high school. But trying to figure out what that was took some years.
Yeah.
And then after I'd finished my master's degree, I knew one day I'd want to go for my doctorate. So I had started to think like, well, if I do that, how do I continue that study? How do I continue that research of social media as a good tool? Well, how can I start testing that theory out? Other than questioning people. I questioned citizens. They all thought cops should be using it. I questioned cops. Cops thought they should be using it. But cops didn't want to get in trouble. Cops didn't have any training, so there was that issue. And then it fell back into, well, what more can you do with this other than just a Facebook group? There's got to be more. So then I was listening to Joe Rogan, which is one of my favorite it is my favorite podcast. Listening to that, and he kept trying to get comedians to be podcasters. He put out some numbers. He goes, realistically in the nation, he said 1,000 of us. He goes, 50 to 100 of us are funny. and he wasn't saying that like arrogantly, but what he meant was 50 to 100 of us are like well known
in the spotlight
and put in the spotlight and circulated. And that was a very generous number he was saying. He goes, how many of us have podcasts? He goes, maybe 5.
Yeah.
So he's like, you're funny. You have a following. You've got ideas. Just run with it. Have fun with it. And he's like, and have your friends on and then make it a community. And lo and behold, it worked for all of them. Well, I started thinking the same thing about police. How many cops are there? 750,000 approximate in the nation.
How many of them have a podcast?
Yeah. How many have a podcast? Virtually none of them. Yeah. And then in that, what is their platform? Is it a dancing TikTok cop? Like, that's not a podcast.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with that. But I wanted something to be based around education, but not education that was a cop echo chamber.
Right.
And so that's where I kind of sometimes rub other cops the wrong way, and then sometimes rub the citizens the wrong way because they think I'm either cop-splaining or I'm just back in the blue when that's not the case. I'm trying to be fair and balanced across the board. If I see a cop screw up, I'm going to call it out. But I'm not just going to call it out. I'm going to tell you where they screwed up, how we fix it, or what's wrong with it, or the case law that goes behind it.
So our Fort Worth Roots friends out there that haven't met you before, they do themselves a service if they pause the episode and they went to Instagram and follow our friend, of course, but see what he's talking about. It's 2 Cops, 1 Donut, and he does a really, really good job of explaining community policing, I think is how you put it.
Yeah, community policing is a part of it. Yep.
But just getting everybody involved in the conversation that has been kind of shoved down our throat over the last decade, trying to pit us against local law enforcement. And you say it, I'll say it, everybody says it. Yeah, there's some bad actors out there. There's stuff that happens that should not be happening and it is absolutely unexcusable. But you do a very good, balanced job of not only bringing issues to the table, but yeah, calling out the officers whenever they F up.
Yeah.
And I think that is a really powerful part of your brand, is that you're there to educate people, maybe have a little bit of fun, but you're also there to encourage officers to do better. And so I haven't seen it done anywhere else. Like you said, most, if anybody, because it's choppy waters. If you're an active police officer at any department, you have to be careful what you say. And, if you didn't run it through your public information officer or get permission from your chief, then you kind of have your head on a chopping block.
Yes.
So there's a massive incentive for cops not to do this. But, it sounds like you might have the support of your department, and that's excellent. But you do a really excellent job of keeping it broad. You're talking to a community much larger than the area that we're in.
Right.
And so... and your numbers reflect that. Like it's value that people are seeing on the officer side as well as the community side. Is that pretty fair synopsis?
Yeah, absolutely. And for your listeners, like, you're not going to hear me say where I work on here, so I want to kind of put that disclaimer out there. Just know I'm in Texas, so we'll work for one of the 12 to 15 largest departments in the nation, and we'll leave it at that. It's not hard to figure out where I'm at, but I have to keep the podcast and where I work separate for reasons of liability on the department side in case I say something that they don't agree with or any of that. But just know I am an active cop and I do work midnights in the streets. I'm still out there, not just preaching about it. I'm, walking the walk as well.
Your last episode you did with
Fit Responder, Ted Stern. Yep.
You mentioned that there's a huge difference between the training that you guys get. It's typically 8 to 5. That's when you get the training, but then you end up on a midnight shift, and guess what? Things are different.
Yes, yeah. And when you consider yourself, you're a midnights officer, and then you have to go to mandatory training. Well, mandatory training is typically held at 8 in the morning. You're not usually getting off till 6 a.m.
Yeah.
So even if it's on your off day, let's say you get off on Friday and your training is Sunday morning at 8 a.m., your schedule is still going to get screwed up because you typically keep that sleep schedule to stay fit for duty for your regular tour.
Right.
Well, if you are working Sunday morning at 8 a.m., now you're trying to force yourself to go to sleep, get a little bit, you're probably not going to get the best of sleep. So how valuable is the training that you're getting? Well, the training could be very valuable. Let's say the training's very valuable that you're getting, but your brain's not in it.
Right.
You are a zombie. So how much are you absorbing?
Checking a box.
Yeah, you're checking a box. And that is terrible. It's hard to deal with.
Well, and there's not a silver bullet or a turnkey solution to how do we get better officers in our departments. But I know for a fact, better training and like what you're talking about, with respect to somebody's shift, that would help. But yeah, the entire defunding the police thing, that is something that I know you've talked about, and
it's failed miserably.
It's something that I talk about pretty often. It's, if you've got a problem with anything, not looking at it is not going to fix it. And that's a broad term you could use to any situation. But the more education, more time in the field, more training, that would definitely be a benefit. Whereas if you defund the police, whatever the hell that means, are you trying to take money out of the system? So now we can't pay them better, so we can't get better officers, and we can't train them better because you're trying to take money out of the department.
So anyway, just a few things that you've talked about on your channel, but it is highly entertaining. And I've mentioned this a couple times on the show. Some people probably still don't know this, but my lady, she's been in the department for a different department. She's been with the police department for 16 years now, 16 plus. And when we first started dating, when we got to talking about our career paths, she told me that she was an officer, and she just kind of looked at me like, is that going to be a problem?
It is very hard for females to have that are cops to get people to stay in a relationship with them outside of police work.
Well, the point I'm leading up to is I didn't think it'd be a problem at all. And then, as we got to grow a relationship, and she'd leave for work all geared up and ready to go, and then the wheels start spinning. And all of a sudden, I've always been, if you want to call it pro cop or whatever, back the blue, that's fine, whatever.
Right.
But whenever you've got a loved one that's in the field day in, day out doing that kind of work, it becomes a lot more impactful. And I think that's the issue that the media has kind of used against our officers by turning people's eye the other way. They're not treating them like people. Right. And whenever your loved one's walking out the door, getting ready to do something that, let's face it, half the people watching this, they couldn't do the job. It's a lot less than half. I'm trying to be nice. I don't think I could do it. I think that if I was an officer, if I was running around with a badge, I'd last about 6 months before, I violated somebody's civil rights or something.
All right.
Not out of violence, but just, I don't know, running my mouth or doing something that was outside of, legal, and I didn't realize it because I didn't get enough training or whatever.
Right.
I think my life expectancy inside the police force would be very, very short-lived.
Yeah. And it's hard for me to kind of reflect the same sentiment, because when I look at other people's jobs, like a firefighter could never do it. A nurse could never do it.
Right.
Like there's a ton of jobs that, the military, other than what I do in the military, looking at all the other military guys' jobs, I'm like, I could never do it. I'm like, not in a million years. Right. I look at police jobs within my own department. I'm like, SWAT could never do it. Yeah. I'm like, you guys are nuts. Like, how do you go into that house? What's wrong with you? He's got a gun. It's barricaded
for a reason. Yeah,
out. He's got a gun, and he's been shooting rounds off all night. Yeah. No, I couldn't. There's a lot of things that I couldn't do. But 99.9% of the job is people and talking to people. I love doing that. I can do that. So,
well, you've humanized the entire thing with your channel and with what you're promoting. And I want to say thank you, because we need that.
I appreciate it.
And like you were kind of wrestling with the idea of like, how do I use these new tools in order to promote this message that I have in my head? I've always wondered that too, until I saw your content. I'm like, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
This is how you get people on board with, humanizing our officers and getting information out in a fun and, kind of bipartisan way, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I try. I don't even look at it as a bipartisan way. I look
at it. That might not be the right term.
No, I know what you mean, though. People tell me that all the time. Like, hey, I like it because you stay balanced. I kind of go on a case-by-case basis on every single thing, just like I would have as if I'm a cop. So when I see a video where I'm like, the cop is obviously screwing up, it's not a hard call for me. It's not a hard call for any of the people I work around.
Yeah.
That's why I like working where I work. But at other agencies and stuff where they don't get as much training as I do, it's almost unfair. They're set up to fail because you're only as good as the training you get. Now, where they don't even have a leg to stand on is when they've received the training, and you can prove that they've had the training. Yet here they are violating somebody's First Amendment.
You definitely knew it.
That's better. That's a common one that I see all the time is First Amendment auditors. Cops come out. Oh, you're not allowed to record here. You can't record. And I'm like, bro, it's 2025. Like, wow, how are these videos still coming out? How do you not have this training?
Well, and it differs by department too, right? Like the city is going to have different laws, or the state or whatever. So you're going to get videos that, and you address this, it depends on the municipal their particular policies or laws.
Well, there's certain things though, like filming in a public area. There's nothing you can do. That's is
federal.
Supreme Court case that is ruled in favor. That's your First Amendment right. So those are the ones that I really get frustrated with, where they not only do they tell them they can't film, but then they start demanding ID. And it's an ego thing. Like you see the ego take over. You see, the officer doesn't know the laws or the rules. And I want people to take that with a grain of salt as well. If you knew how many laws there are,
Right.
cops are never going to know them all.
Yeah.
And they're not
You're not an attorney.
You're not expected to. And that's the point I want to bring up, is that even judges and attorneys don't know all the laws.
They got to look it up.
Yeah, they are specialists. And guess what? They've got days, weeks, months to prepare to learn the laws that they're not 100% familiar with their client to make their argument.
And you're making
I got to figure it out. I got to figure it out on the street.
Yeah.
So cops know the Reader's Digest version of the law. That's really what we do. I'm like, all right, I know you did something wrong. I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to take that dude's stuff because he said you didn't have permission to. So I'm going to put cuffs on you for now. You're under arrest. I'm not sure what exactly you've done yet. I know it's a theft of some sort. Now let me go look it up as I got you in the car.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, you stole 3 credit cards that didn't belong to you. Oh, that's a felony. Oh, shit. There you go. Literally, it's how it works sometimes.
Yeah.
So for people out there that have this expectation, and this is where they get mad at police, they have an unmet expectation. You think that because you just don't know, you think that the cops should know this and do this.
Right.
And when that expectation is unmet, that's where the anger comes from.
Yeah.
And that's anything. You thought your wife was going to pick up dinner on the way home. She didn't, but you didn't communicate that. Now you're upset because you were like expecting dinner. It's not our fault.
It's like it's taquitos again.
Yeah, and so you give an attitude. I guess I'll make a sandwich, and you're like, my wife's like, I guess you will. So it's that unmet expectation, and that's where the frustrating comes from. So me as a cop, understanding that, I don't get mad at people. Like, I don't let it frustrate me. I don't let it get to me. I'm like, I get it. You had an expectation based on what knowledge you had at the time. I'm not saying that you're dumb, and I'm not saying you're ignorant. We know what we know.
It's got to be some Jedi level mind training, man, to really maintain professionalism while you've got some just absolute lunatic screaming at you, calling you all sorts of names.
The world is my entertainment.
Okay.
That's my mindset. The world is my entertainment. Yeah. If I keep that mindset as a cop, how do you get mad?
Yeah.
And I would much rather look at it as personal entertainment, not at somebody's expense,
right?
But as a fascination, as a, oh my God, look at this response. Let me figure and that's the nerdy side of me. Like I told you guys earlier, I'm not a smart guy. I'm not. I'm really good at being a cop.
Yeah.
So I'm really good at one thing. So and I think it's policing, and I may not be, but in my head I am. I like what I do, and it's worked out for me. And guess what? I don't have a bunch of complaints. I don't have uses of force. I don't have all of these problems that can drag an officer down.
Yeah.
Because what I'm doing is working for me. Doesn't mean it's the way, but it is a way, and it works for me very well. And it keeps me happy. In a job that most people are, and your girl will tell you, it's a very cynical place. Cop work is a cynical place. I'm not a cynical. I'm an optimistic person. I'm a glass half full. It drives other cops nuts sometimes because that's my mindset. But my mindset going in is I have front row tickets to the best show on earth, and I get paid for it.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's the best way to do it.
Well, and again, can't bring up the name. I had to drive a considerable distance to get here today, folks, just so you know. So you think you know what department we're talking about. Maybe you do, probably you don't, but I did have to drive to get here. You have an incredible department behind you, and I think that having the support of your colleagues and your administration is probably a pretty big part of that confidence that you feel whenever you're out there, mindset or not.
Yeah.
You know that you've got a really badass department behind you.
Yeah. I honestly, I wish, like you said, I wish I could say, I wish I could. And like you were saying, I've talked to my chief. He loves what I do, but it's a liability issue. You can't back up what I do, and I understand that. So I follow the general orders, and I don't say where I work, and I don't mention it, and I very much so try not to say anything that would show disfavor to them. But I truly think it is the best department in the nation, and that is not based on limited information. That is me. I've been an academy instructor. I have traveled the nation. I have talked to instructors from around the world. I am very much involved in education for officers. So I talk to a lot of other trainers throughout the nation. Like when I tell them what we have going on, they can't believe it.
Yeah.
And I think we're unrivaled, but we're unknown.
Well, and I think the goal really should be, hey guys, take a look. This is working over here. Mm-hmm. How do we get you to implement this?
Right.
And not from a position of, hey, we're doing really good and you should be like us. But I mean, share that wealth. Let the other departments know. Figure out how to incorporate that into the lifestyle or the just social structure. What word am I grasping for here? But the culture of every department.
Right.
If it's working here, let's let other people know.
Yeah. It needs to be, in my opinion, what we're doing needs to be studied by a college, a research college. And they need to put that out there. Because typically when you look at research projects and stuff, you'll see NYPD, LAPD, Baltimore. You see all the same ones over and over. These all major departments are always in research projects.
Because they have movies.
And plus they have the two largest departments in the nation.
Yeah.
Boston's another one. So you're always seeing these guys, and I'm like, yes, they're big, but that doesn't mean they've got it figured out.
Right.
There's, in my opinion, like I said, where I'm at, I think we have a formula that could help improve others. But to what you were saying, what works in the culture of a Texas department, because I'm in Texas, isn't necessarily going to work in New York.
Right.
The culture's different.
Yeah. 100%.
So see what we're doing. Take the goodies that we have and see if you can manipulate it in a way that fits your culture. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I get it. Because like I said, there's some stuff that they do in New York that I'm like, we couldn't even want to take that. Like, no, that's not going to work here.
Yeah.
But there are some things that I'm sure would be really good, Yeah,
we mentioned this earlier talking about funding, but the department that you're currently with, don't they have like 8 months versus the average of 6 months
for the academy
training?
Yeah, so
education.
We more than double the state recommended or mandated hours just in our academy time. Then on top of that, so it's an 8-month academy versus I think the national average is like 4 months.
Oh damn!
And
that's
then,
crazy.
Yeah,
right? That difference.
Yeah, and then you have some academies that are 6 weeks based on you having military experience, which I am a military person. So
it doesn't transfer.
It doesn't transfer. No. There are some good things. There's things that will apply, but you still need to go to an academy.
I'll tell you right now, like you take, say, some knucklehead out of the United States Army that's been in the infantry, running convoys, detaining people, stuff like that.
Right.
You don't want that dude wearing a badge. I mean, he could do the job, but like, he's going to need some training.
Right. You don't want to throw him into a 6-week academy and call him good.
No.
You send him through the 8-month like I went through, and he'll be great.
Because he'll like I was talking
I think
about,
they'll
last
excel.
6 months.
Yeah, they will excel. But yeah, you can't. And I do think military tend to do better in the academies.
Sure.
That doesn't mean it doesn't come with there's
a cost.
There's pros and cons to everything. There's some military guys that are just, they're too ate up and it doesn't translate well once they get out there dealing with the public.
Well, maybe they weren't in the military anymore because of a reason.
Possible. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely, I do think that academies need to go longer. They need to get away from block training. Block style training is one of the worst. And for those listening, if you're like, what the hell are you talking about block training? There's a difference between an academy that has a progressive state to it that flows all the way through. And then there's block training. Block training is like, all right, this week we're talking about arrest, search, and seizure. Then the next week, this week, we're talking about the Constitution. And then the next week, this week, we're going over handcuffing.
And once you're done with that block, you just never cover it.
You never go back to it other than when you test on it. And that's it. To me, that is a huge disservice versus, okay, first week, we're going to go over health and wellness. So we want you to set yourself up, know the right things to eat, know how to keep yourself healthy throughout this 8-month academy.
Yeah.
And then you're also going to know how to take care of your body when you're being tested and ran through the ringer of all the, physicalities that you'll have to do. Okay, cool. Well, as we go through that week, all right, you guys are eating right, you're doing right. We're slowly getting into PT. Okay, we're going to teach you how to fight. First, how does a fight start? Well, you got to learn the stance. You got to learn how to make a fist. If I ask 10 people how to make a fist, 6 of them are going to put
Holding their thumb.
They're going to hold their thumb inside their hand. And I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, you're going to have a broken hand. Here's why. So you got to break it down. So you do that, but throughout the entire academy, by the time they get halfway through it, now they know how to get into a fighting stance, how to throw a strike and move into maybe a takedown, and then from a takedown, how to move into a handcuffing position. Meanwhile, in the academy, for the academic side, they learn the health and wellness. They're learning when they can use force. So we're going through the progression of using force. Okay. Now we're also learning the Constitution and how the arrest mechanics go into using the Constitution to make sure you are allowed to arrest in the first place. But that continues throughout the academy. It doesn't stop. We keep talking about the Constitution. We keep talking about the arrest, search, and seizure process and all of that stuff.
It's like anything else.
Yeah.
If you're going through high school and the first semester of your high school career was English, and then you move through the rest of your high school career and never touched English again, you're going to come out not knowing English.
Not prepared to write. Yeah, exactly. And when you take a foreign language, you get Spanish 1, and then you take Spanish 2. And
if you're not practicing it, you just lose it.
Yeah,
You can't find the baños anymore.
Yeah. All I can remember, you remember the movie Encino Man? Are you old enough to remember that one?
Oh, yeah.
So when they were learning Spanish, it was like, ¿Dónde está el baño? Like, in el queso something. He's like, the cheese is old and moldy. Where's the bathroom? I remember that scene. That was the first Spanish I ever learned.
I failed first semester Spanish twice.
Really?
Write that in your book. Yeah.
Well, in Michigan, we had Spanish and French. And I think I took French. But then they switched because computers were becoming a big thing. You could get away from a language if you learned computers.
Yeah.
So I learned how to build computers.
I remember that being a thing too, because it was like, you got to take a foreign language or you can do computers, and everybody's like, computers. Duh.
Yeah.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
Oregon Trail. Here I come.
Exactly.
So, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think my big game once I got to high school was Age of Empires. That was my big one.
I don't know if I got to play that one.
And
I had
Ultima Online.
I had Lemmings. You remember the Lemmings?
Yeah. I remember those.
And Oregon Trail was the
Oregon Trail. That was I was really young because that was like you're playing that on an Apple, like the old Macintoshes.
I don't remember what the system was, but that was the highlight of the day.
Because when I started learning how to type, it was on old school, like big things.
Big,
but then
buttons.
we had the computers, but they only had the old keys. What are they called? Typing machine.
Yeah.
They only had those for the class. You didn't learn to do it on the computer. And then once we learned how to do it on the computer, we felt like speed demons because it was literally like wearing a weighted vest while you're running, trying to type on those things, those old mechanical ones, and then getting on there, like they took the vest off and you're like, holy cow, I can type super fast.
Yeah. I've gotten actually better at typing over the years, but are they still teaching typing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I heard they quit teaching cursive, and I was like, well, that seems like a loss.
I never use it.
I don't either.
I'm good.
I sign my name in cursive. That's
I've seen some people send like emails and stuff that are all cursived out, and I'm like, it's take too much effort now. Like I gotta think of what I'm reading, not versus it. It's about sending messages and receiving them.
Let's get the information
across. Quit churching it up, Joe Dirt. Come on.
So you're from Michigan originally?
Originally, Flint, Michigan. Yeah. Don't drink the water.
Oh my God. Yeah. How about that? They ever get that fixed up? You have family out there?
Yeah, I do. Yes. So they got the water fixed. Yes. However, the corrupt politics that ruined it to begin with, they decided in a city that's notoriously broken poor anyway, that we're going to fix the pipes in the water, but the pipe that leads from your home to the street is your responsibility.
Of course it is.
Yeah, and anybody that knows that's probably $10,000 minimum for even the easiest of fixes.
Oh yeah.
So you think that these people have that type of money just readily available to get that fixed? I'm going to say no.
Again, though, but that was an odd selection of words. How would the city to pay for all of that? I mean,
You know how much money they were given from the nation?
And they had enough to
They
do
had
that, you think?
plenty. They were caught
wow.
taking the money that was being donated to them.
I didn't know that.
Totally corrupt politics out there.
Damn.
It's been that way for so long.
Bottled water.
Yep.
I guess we'll have those microplastics because I'm not drinking that Flint, Michigan water.
I don't.
And what was the deal with that? What was the pollutant? Was it just dirty?
Oh, it was lead. So basically
my
what
God.
happened was we were getting our water from Detroit. And that'd been since I was a kid. That I can remember anyway. The reason being the acidity level in Flint water was too high.
Okay.
Knowing that when it would go through the pipes, it would eventually, this is what the geologists or whatever they're called that were measuring it were like, if you use this water, it's eventually going to get to the lead line of the pipes.
Oh my God.
Because there's old pipes.
Yeah.
So stick with the Detroit water because whatever the alkaline level in that pH level won't go through it.
Yeah.
Well, they wanted to make money by switching sources. So they switched over to the Flint River. And they were told originally by the, again, I say geologists. I really think that's what it was.
The water people.
The water people. That don't do it because this is what will happen.
Yeah.
Well, they got a second opinion with somebody that they probably paid off. And that person, no, that water's fine. Switched it. Somebody got a payday. I mean, it was huge. I don't know how many people got arrested out of that, but I do know people did.
Damn. So 10 years later, I'm guessing.
Of course.
I
think some people actually ended up, now allegedly, I think some people ended up dead.
Yeah. Pretty nasty.
Yeah.
I remember all the videos and pictures.
Yeah.
It's funny how that kind of news just goes quiet. Right?
It's a poor area. Nobody cares.
Right.
You know, I got out of Flint as fast as I could. Let's put it that way. And it's like the Matrix. It's really what it is. You don't know you're in it until you get out of it.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I've been trying to talk people to move into my city for years. And it's so funny because I'm from Abilene, Texas originally.
Okay.
And there's just nothing there. But if you're there and you got your family there and it's all you've ever known, it's so hard to get away from it. And there's nothing inherently wrong with Abilene. But it is a small community and there's not a lot of opportunity. And you're not going to get paid what you deserve for any profession.
Yeah.
So I've always tried to encourage my friends to move out, but you're right, man. It's like you don't know you don't know that it's not right until you get on the other side of it.
It took the military to get me out of there and then realize, that I had no choice. I had to get out and then I had to stay away.
Yeah.
And then by the time I got acclimated to being away, got rid of that homesickness.
Like, that's not normal.
I'm like, oh my God, look at all these businesses flourishing. You guys have roads that work. Like there's not 4-foot potholes in each road and constant construction. Like everything I knew about Flint was nothing but constant closure. Everything was closing. All the GM shops, all the, Delphi, AC, and all of them, Buick, everything was closing. Everything was always closing and moving out. People would open small businesses. I never knew a small business to last more than a couple years. And that was a good one. So everything I knew was just boarded up and eventually would close down.
Yeah.
And if you go back there now, it's the same thing.
It's rough watching that, man. I've watched little bitty West Texas communities do that over the years, and it sucks. But they're all moving to metropolitan areas. And you ever been down to Corpus?
Yeah.
And is it the Lexington they have on display there, the big old aircraft carrier?
Yes. Yeah.
There was, and I think they still have it. It's a theater that they made out of one of the areas of the ship. You can go in there and watch a movie. And the movie they had playing last time I was there, and this is 15, 20 years ago, I can't remember. But they had a movie playing, and it was kind of a cartoon version of the direction our world was heading. And I think it was probably aimed towards green energy or something like that.
Okay.
But the bottom line to the story was everybody was going to end up in the year whatever moving to a large city, and these little bitty communities were just going to dry up and go away. And I thought that video was so stupid, and it was kind of offensive. I didn't like it, and we're watching it happen now. I don't know why that's stuck in my mind, but over the years I've watched it. These little bitty towns they're dying because you would think in the day and age of being able to work mobily, from the house with internet connectivity and whatever, you'd think that it would be more advantageous for people to kind of spread out, get away from the city. But that's not what's happening.
Yeah. During COVID, a lot of people learned and businesses learned that you can function, and some flourished, I think, from working from home.
Yeah. Stay at the house.
But I feel like that kind of went away.
It really did.
Yeah.
And it was wild to watch that too, because it was like a knee-jerk reaction. Like, everybody stay home. This is the way we work now. This is business as usual from here on out. And then a couple of years later, it's like, you get your ass back to work.
Yep.
You come back to this office and we will fire you.
I think there was a happy medium that we could have found there. Now, I'm a cop. That's
right.
There's no happy. There's no happy medium for me, but for other people, I could definitely see that. My wife's a nurse, so that's not going to work for her either. But I think for sure, if you have the ability to work a couple days from home, I think you should be able to do that. I think that's because ultimately, what are we working for?
Yeah.
Working for a family. So I think people would be motivated to work a little bit harder and longer, knowing a couple days at home, extra days at home, even if you're working, but you're still around your family.
I'm self-employed. I tell you what, I cannot work from the house. There's too much to distract me. I can't do it. My ADHD is ramped up.
Yeah.
I sit down in front of the laptop and I work for 5 minutes, and then I need to go check, see what the dog's doing.
Yeah.
What are the chickens okay? I need to go check on the chickens.
Yeah. You got chickens?
We got chickens just recently. So I don't know what you got your wife for Valentine's Day. I got mine 2 chickens.
We don't do that.
Yeah.
We don't do Valentine's Day. So
well, it's a light holiday for us as well, but she'd
2
been
chickens.
wanting chickens.
It's original.
Yeah. I thought so.
Or extra crispy. Whatever you want.
In a bucket or laid out on a plate.
Yeah.
How are we doing on time, by the way? I saw you looking at the camera.
38 minutes.
Okay.
You're good.
Yeah.
I was just checking to make sure that I
still
forgot
rolling.
make sure it was, I get nervous.
We're good. And thank you again for having me out here, man, because this is something I've wanted to connect with you for so long, and I'm really excited for what you're doing. I'm proud that it's happening here in Texas, and I'm a big supporter, big fan.
I hope people can read between the lines, but
Not too
much.
Yeah. Before we get out of here, because we talked a lot about a bunch of different stuff, but we didn't cover, your scope, what you plan to accomplish with 2 Cops, 1 Donut.
Okay.
What's on the horizon for you guys?
Okay, so for us, first and foremost, I guess really what the podcast is trying to do is bridge that gap with the community and first responders, because we don't just limit it to police. Like we kind of have a 3-tiered system going right now. We have interviews, like a regular podcast, like we're doing right now.
Yeah.
And the interviews are more intimate and more educational, humanizing based. And it's not just with cops. We do judges, lawyers, mayors. Had Betsy Price on.
Love Betsy.
So, we have defense attorneys. We have people that have been wrongly convicted. So we hit both sides of the fence, so to speak. I hate using that us versus them or anything like that, but I'm trying to show that it's on one side of the criminal justice system or the other, but we have those conversations, and it's all based around education and perspective. So when you hear my interviews, it's always humanize who they are, where they're from. I want you guys to buy into whatever they have to say.
Right.
And then we get into the education part. Even if it was a person that did 26 years in prison. Okay, you did 26 years in prison. What was that like? Okay, we get into that. What was the corrections officers like? What was something wrong with the system you saw? What's something that was good with the system you saw? How can we improve it? So there's the education side. And then the perspective, okay, you did all this time looking back, like, how do we change that? How do we make things better for the future? What can me as a cop learn from your situation to make cops better? If there's a cop listening right now, how can we make that better? If there's a judge listening right now, so how can we fix the criminal justice system based on this conversation?
Yeah.
I may not fix it, but it can give us stuff to work on. And that in itself is a conversation that is never had.
Yeah.
And it's not put out there. So that's one side. That's one pillar of what we do. Another one is our live stream. So we have a panel of cops, so to speak, and we will live stream where we will have a hot topic. Sandra, what was her name? Sandra
Bullock?
No, not Sandra Bullock. The lady that threw the boiling water at the officer.
What city was this?
I don't know. I'm blanking on her name.
Straight to jail.
Yeah, Sandra Massey.
Yeah,
that was her name.
Bye,
so she threw boiling water at this officer, but the officer, like, it was a hot topic.
Was this in a house?
This was in a little tiny house, and we would, on the live stream, we were talking about that subject, and we watched the video, and then we...
Oh, I remember this. Okay.
We will give our... As we're watching the body cam, what we do that's unique is we're not Monday morning quarterbacking. We are saying how would we respond as the video is developing. So you see the officer walking up to the house and you hear them knock on the door. Hey, man, we heard you had somebody possibly knocking on your window or something like that. We'll go check it out. Cool. They go check it out. They come back. And it was at that point where we'll pause it and we'll discuss with everybody live streaming. So that's part of the other thing is
that's really
it's
cool.
Interactive.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I don't know about you, and I'm talking to the other cops on the panel. I'd have left. I'd have been gone here. Hey, man, we didn't find anything. If you need anything else, give us a call back. She obviously had some sort of mental issues going on. She's a little crazy, but that's okay. It's not illegal to be crazy. And but you could read that. And we say that. I'm like, well, the vibe I'm kind of getting is she's, got some mental issues going on. So I see that. And we're discussing why we would have left and all the legalities behind that. Meanwhile, people in the audience are chatting, asking questions. So we're answering questions as we're going. Yeah. And we get through all that, right? And discuss. And so we'll make the hard calls, or we'll say, the cop screwed up here. And in that particular case that we're talking about, I feel like the cops screwed up majorly. And this was an unnecessary use of force, a deadly force situation. So we have that talk. So that's kind of what the live stream does. The live stream, we will watch body cams that we've never seen before, and you get a live reaction. And we have a panel of cops from around the nation.
How do you organize that?
I just friends and connections I've made over time.
Are you all on a split screen? Or are you all kind of in the same room?
Yeah, so we're all on a split screen. We're having like a Zoom type meeting. Okay. But I've got a cop from California, a young cop, only been a cop 3 years. I've got a seasoned 20-year detective from Chicago area. I've got a cop up in New York, a female that's only been a cop 7 years. I say only. That's a good. She knows what she's talking about at 7 years. Yeah. And she's in a major city in New York. I'll just put it at that. And I've got another cop was an Albuquerque cop. Now he's over in Colorado. But he's passed the bar. So he's got kind of a legal expertise behind his. And then I've got a North Texas retired deputy, been a cop 20 years, but he's got that rural cop mentality, where he's not used to having backup anywhere near him. Yeah. He's handling calls for, if he gets in a fight, it's going to be 20 minutes before somebody gets to him. So he's got to handle business. Yeah. So you got a wide array of, expertise.
That's really cool.
All taking different hits and making different points on something.
Where can people catch these?
The live streams on our YouTube channel. Okay. 2 Cops, 1 Donut. Yep, all spelled out. So
How often do you do that?
Once a week. We got another one tomorrow night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just not on my radar, man. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's fun. And we try to always have a special guest. Doesn't have to be a cop. Well, it's fun sometimes when it's a civilian. Hey,
Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock? Yeah. How do you look at this call? All right, we're pausing right here. Like here's. I will never leave somebody out there to flounder unless we talked about it prior. Like, you want to be thrown to the fire, or do you want us to kind of like lead you? And they're like, no, throw me to the fire. I'm like, all right, you're walking up to this car right now. Excuse me. Pause. How are you handling this right here? Well, I'm gonna knock on his window and tell him roll the fucking window down. I'm like, holy shit. All right, that's not exactly how I would handle it, but let me, and we're drinking. Are you allowed to swear on your podcast, by the way?
Yes, we fucking are.
Okay. I'm just making sure. I was gonna say I can,
but don't celebrate it.
I can dial it back. But so what we'll do is we'll adult beverages while we're going, and just talking like how we are, trying to be people. And this is the one limitation. I always think it adds to your credibility when you acknowledge your flaws. You're never gonna fully get me. You're never gonna fully see my full real personality.
Just keep one button up.
I have to.
Yeah.
Because you guys got to understand, even though I'm drinking, responsibly, I can't fully be myself.
Right.
Which sucks.
Yeah.
It's just the life of a cop.
Yeah.
If you're going to be in a public eye, you can't be your true self all the time. So,
I've got all sorts of wild ideas. Like, what?
Yeah.
What?
so there's the second pillar. Now the third pillar is our social media, and this is the one that you probably see the most.
Yeah, that's where I get most of your
Try
content.
to do shorts and reels all the time where it's a reaction video that educates.
Yeah.
Tries to educate. Every once in a while, I'll get something up my butt and I'm like, this would be funny if I did this, and try to do something funny that has nothing to do with education.
Yeah.
That happens very rarely, but when I do it, you just know I'm in a silly mood that day.
Yeah.
But the main point is education, always education, and getting conversations going. It is not clickbait. When I say I want conversation, if you go through and look at the videos, it's not me going, cool.
Share with
Thanks.
your friends.
Awesome. Yeah. Hit that like button. I am having all out full paragraphs where I'm explaining, and that is what eats most of my time up, because I feel like that's what makes us different is we're giving well thought out answers to as much as we can, and that eats up a lot of time.
Yeah,
a lot of time. So I've got some.
I don't know how you're doing it.
I'm like you. I have a squirrel brain. So for me, if I'm just sitting there and me and the wife are watching TV and we're not really watching a program together,
Right.
I'm like, all right, let me see if there's any questions. Okay, there's one. Boom. Let me answer. Then boom, put it back down. And so it's just constant.
Yeah.
I just back and forth trying to answer this stuff. And now for the fourth soon-to-be pillar, because of where we've been going and the ideas and stuff we have, the guy that taught me how to do all the editing and stuff like that, I didn't know how to do any of this when I started.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally started with an old iPhone, an old iPad, and then tried to connect some janky mics that I got off of eBay.
And this was 02?
No.
Or 22, I mean?
2021.
Okay.
April 21. Yep. And tried doing it that way. And if you guys go back and watch the very first episode of our podcast on YouTube, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Didn't know lighting, didn't know sound, didn't know how to edit. So it is what it is.
I'm feeling judged right now. He's
Yeah.
so much better at this.
So
Your product is very clean.
I called my buddy Chris, who's in Hollywood. He's out of Texas, and he had put me in we did a nonprofit, Hallie's Heroes, where a girl had a life-threatening type of cancer, bone cancer, but preventable or curable. You needed to be a bone marrow match type thing. So we were bringing awareness to it, and we did like this whole fire PD, thing.
I'm actually familiar with this one.
Okay, so yeah, I played Time, not Father Time, but Time, whatever it was for the video we did, because it was kind of like an Alice in Wonderland off the Pink video type thing, and that's how I met Chris. Okay. Chris volunteered all his time, did all the editing, all that stuff. He did all that, and so I'm like, he's a good dude.
Yeah.
And then talked to him, was like, this is my idea, and he's like, okay, I see where you're going. He's like, well, if you need any help, just call me. I'll walk you through. Well, that dude walked me through a lot. So learn how to edit and do all that stuff. Well, the point that I'm trying to get to in this is after learning how to do all that stuff and growing as much as we've grown, now I've got more ideas. And I'm like, I don't just have a podcast show idea. I don't just have a live stream idea. I've got like actual Netflix style, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be Netflix, but like just
Right.
on YouTube, where I think I've got show ideas and a ton of them. So talk to him, and I was like, I've got this network of people with me already, as far as cops go, that I think are as good variety. I could see plugging them into these shows because it fits their personality.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want to create like a first responder network, kind of like how Blaze TV is, but for what we're doing.
Right.
That is based around education, can have some entertainment value to it, all that stuff. So now I got Chris involved, the guy that I'm talking about, the Hollywood guy, who got another producer, was a producer of the TV show Extra. Remember that Extra?
Yeah.
The OC, Laguna Beach. She did a whole bunch of stuff. Her name's Paulina Williams. And got Chris Hatchett and Paulina Williams. Now they're our producers for this stuff. And we are on the cusp of having the Donut Network, DTV.
Nice.
So that's what's coming up next.
That's huge.
Yeah, that's super huge. Yeah, cheers.
That's amazing. Well, I got to tell you, Fort Worth Roots is always here to support you. And that's the little guy telling the giant, I can help.
I am not a giant. You know how much money I've made in the 4 years of doing this?
Well, the impact you're having on the community.
Right.
And that's my metric for success.
Yeah.
You're doing amazing things. I love what you're doing. And I think that any Leo out there that's got any kind of introspective muscle in their body is going to appreciate what you're doing.
Yeah.
And the community, hopefully they get it. I think there's going to be some people out there that are like, pro cop, get it out of my face.
Right.
You know,
it's really
not
not
going to see the real message.
Yeah. Yeah.
But other than that, man, thank you so much, because our mainstream media has done a great job of just absolutely disintegrating the trust in our community for law enforcement officers, first responders. I mean, shit, I think it was less than a year ago, we had somebody pull a gun and shoot at one of our firefighters. And it's just like, people are just trying to put out your burning garbage, your bullshit property, and you're pulling anyway. So there's obviously a disconnect there. And if it's not for people like you, it's going to continue to get worse. So thank you.
I appreciate it, man.
I know that they can find you on Instagram as 2 Cops, 1 Donut. Where else can they find your content?
Oh, man. On every single thing that you can imagine. So if you want to hear our podcasts on Spotify or Apple, it's actually the number 2 Cops, the number 1 Donut. For whatever reason, Apple, Spotify would not let us type out 2 Cops, 1 Donut. So if you just want to listen to us, that's how you find us there. Now, if you want to find us on social media, Instagram is our biggest account, and that's 2 Cops _1 Donut, all written out. We're on Facebook, same thing, 2 Cops, 1 Donut. TikTok, I wouldn't trust TikTok to last. We use it. Everything that you see us post on everything else, we post it on there
the same.
with the intention that they're going to kick us off eventually.
Right.
So, but yeah, Instagram, TikTok, Clapper, which is LinkedIn's another big one for us. Okay. So
I've heard you mention that. I was like, maybe I need to get my LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn is definitely the place to be. We'll talk about that offline. Okay. But you can find me, my personal Erik Lavigne, ERIK, and Lavigne LAVIGNE on LinkedIn. But we have a 2 Cops, 1 Donut, all spelled out, podcast page on there as well, so you can find those. And that's our big major things. And then YouTube, of course. So if you are going to give us a follow and subscribe, YouTube and Facebook YouTube and Instagram are 2 top.
And then a lot of people don't know this, but if they want to get bonus content from this show, you can go to 2 Girls 1 Cup.
Not true. And what's funny, so it's a good segue. People ask where we got our name from. Now,
is it not that?
It is not that. So
I've been mistaken for a long time.
Here, I know. And when it was pointed out to me about the 3rd or 4th episode from a friend, a colleague that I work with, he was like, bro, 2 Cops, 1 Donut. It's funny. It's like 2 Girls, 1 Cup. And I'm like, fuck.
I didn't even
register.
Oh, wow.
It. And I was one of the originals that saw that. Like
it's part of your success, I promise you. It's such a great
absolutely. Name. And once I realized it, then I'll tell you why I named it 2 Cops, 1 Donut. I love Bert Kreischer and Tom Segura.
Yeah.
2 Bears, 1 Cave. That's the name of their podcast. And I listened to them. I told you I'm a Rogan fan. Well, how do you think I found out about 2 Bears, 1 Cave? It's from them. I'm like, oh, that's funny. 2 big, burly, hairy comedians in their man cave. That makes sense. How do I play off that? Well, okay. Now, the idea behind my name is I am a military cop. Yes, I'm still in the military, as old as I am. And then I am also a civilian cop. Mm-hmm. So between that, I am 2 cops.
Right.
And 1 donut. So I was just trying to be funny because cops and donuts. That's all it was.
Well, it's way more special because now I know it was a mistake.
Yes.
But a good mistake.
Yeah, so it helps. It does help. I won't lie. Once I figured, I could have changed it at that point because I wasn't even an LLC yet, but I was like, no, I like it now. I like it even more now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is what it is. It is what it is.
Can we get you back on the show sometime?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
And I don't know how a old Army vet podcaster guy with 24 months of correctional experience could add value to your show. But if you ever wanted us on, I'd be happy to do it.
Absolutely. Now, is it just you?
It is.
It is just you.
When I say we, I'm talking about myself and the community of people that enjoy Fort Worth.
Yeah. No, I get you.
But yeah, it's just me.
Absolutely.
But I jumped off from my full-time position back in October.
Okay.
And I haven't looked back.
Where was that? Can you say?
Yeah, it's a shitty-ass, fucked-up company called SRM, Smyrna Ready Mix. And I'm just looking for my opportunity to get Fort Worth Roots to the point where we can start some kind of legal battle where I just say all sorts of crazy shit about these people.
What are they?
It's a ready mix company. And
like cement?
Yeah. So they bought up not all, but a shit ton of concrete companies, all these little mom and pops all over the U.S. And my company was one of those. And whenever they purchased it, they told us, hey, you guys don't worry. Your job is secure. It's okay. Anyway, whenever they asked us all to bow our heads and pray, I should have been like, something's wrong. We should all run. But anyway, so they lied to us, and then they tried to get us all out the door. And this is my opinion. I don't know that this is true or a fact. Allegedly.
That's how you do it.
But this is what it seemed like. Other companies have done this in the past. It's a shit maneuver, but companies do this, where they, instead of firing everybody.
You said doo-doo.
I know, I caught that too.
But you delayed it.
I can edit it out.
I like that.
I won't. So what they do is they reduce your hours. They actually paid me more. They gave me a pay raise. And then they took us from 65 hours a week down to no shit, doing my taxes this year. I saw my last paycheck from these guys. I had 2 hours in 1 week. So I went from 65 hours a week, all that overtime.
Right.
And it was a really good job. But
they honey potted you, I think they call it.
Honey dick.
Honey dick. Yeah, honey dick. Yeah. I just watched the interview like the other day. I was like, that's where that comes from.
You want me to put this where? Yeah. So anyway, it was just time, man. Fort Worth Roots had grown to a level where it's like, okay, man, I gotta make a decision here. I either need to jump into a new career.
I gotta figure out how you make money.
It's a thing. It's a never ending thing. Yeah. But anyway, we're taking donations. You can just send them to me at the studio. We've got a brick and mortar studio over there next to the base.
Oh, nice.
Just stick it in the mailbox. I'll get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a whole thing. But I love it. I wouldn't trade my life for anybody else's. And I'm just trying to find more good people like you doing great shit and making good content and seeing what we can do to kind of just help each other grow.
Hell yeah. So, absolutely.
Anyway, took me 2 years to get to say that, but here we are.
Nice. I love it.
Erik, man, thank you so much.
Not a problem, brother.
And anything else you want to shout out before we get out of here?
For me, just a shout out to Banning Sweatland. So these other people on our show that are regulars. Banning is my co-host. So Banning Sweatland, Matt Thornton, Detective Matt Thornton. So find him. Daniel Carr from Police Law News. That's the guy that I was telling you to pass the bar. Her Instagram is up in New York, but that's Kat Clark. She's the New York cop. Trey Mosley, and that's just his name on Instagram. He didn't get anything fancy. And let me see, who else do I got out there? Deadleg, who's one of our behind-the-scenes guy.
Okay.
Former cop. He ended up having some medical issues with his legs.
Yeah.
So call him Deadleg. And Alan Nelson is another guy that's behind the scenes. He was a Brownfield, Texas, which is tiny.
Way down there.
Tiny. But he's another one of our internet and media background guys.
Panel for the lives.
Yeah, when we do the lives.
Very
so
cool.
that way, because it's impossible to get. It's like herding cats.
Oh, God.
I mean, look how long it took you to get me. So it's like herding cats. So you get who you can when you can.
Right.
And, you always try to have a special guest and things like that. But yeah, man, that's
your core group.
That's my peeps. So I want to give a shout out to them. And then my new two producers, Chris Hatchett. You can find him at I am Chris Hatchett on Instagram. And then Paulina Williams. You can find her on LinkedIn, just under her name.
How do you remember all that?
Because I do it every single day. Every day.
Well, we're here to enhance the community. If you're out there as a creator and you'd like to connect with us, it's media@fortworthroots.com. To our Leos out there and their family members, thank you so much for what you do. I wouldn't want to imagine this world, this country without you guys. So thank you. And I think that's it, brother.
All right, man.
right.
Everybody else, appreciate you guys. Take it easy.
We'll see you on the next. Go follow him. Instagram. 2 cops, 1 donut.
All the things.
All right. See ya.
Excellent recording. Blown away whenever you meet somebody like this that is every bit of what you thought they were whenever you walk through the door. No surprises there. Erik's a good dude, and I genuinely support what he's doing. You know, the media over the years has just completely disintegrated trust with our first responders, and it's one of the most awful things I've seen in my life. But you got folks out there like Erik that are doing the Lord's work, really. Anyway, we're here for it. Erik, if there's anything we can do to support you and your homies over there at 2 Cops, 1 Donut, just let us know. And again, on Instagram, that is 2 Cops _ 1 Donut. And I don't believe you, by the way. I think this is totally a 2 Girls, 1 Cup reference. And everybody I talk to believes the same thing. Dope studio, man. He's got the coolest equipment in there. Something to strive for, but excellent. And I'm hoping that we get to do a lot more work with Erik in the near future. All right, cool. Listen, shout out to anybody that's interested in getting involved with the Fort Worth Roots podcast. I'm going to take a minute to explain to you what we want to do. I have approached multiple organizations throughout the Fort Worth area, and the idea is, hey, we're going to come into your place of business or your 501c or whatever. We're going to set up shop, and this is going to be your day to have an episode on the Fort Worth Roots podcast. I take care of the equipment, I take care of the editing, and I get it up underneath the Fort Worth Roots umbrella. And then you can use that as a tool, if you are so inclined, for advertising. So that's the general idea. We're already doing this with Donovan Manufacturing. We do the morning show with Hoppin', and then we do another one out there at McFly's Pub. So we're already doing this with other companies, and it's working. We've got 6 more spots. I want to do 6 more episodes every single week. I think we can do it. I know we can, and I can do it if I've got your help. We do charge for this. I'm an independent podcaster, and the only way that we can get funding for this show is by doing more work. So guess what? I'm here for it. Outside of that, if you are a creator of any kind inside the DFW area, we want to support you. So come meet up with us. Our Tuesday nights, I'm going to start gearing this thing to be more of a kind of a social media, I hate saying influencer, but a creator, an ambassador. You folks out there making content geared towards improving our community. I want to connect with you, and I want to do it every Tuesday out at McFly's Pub. We've got a thing going on there, and it just seems like a great place to meet up. Now, if you have an idea and you'd rather me come to your thing, let me know. I'm down. Let's go. But we really do need to work together. I run into podcasters and creators all the time that think somebody is just going to find them, and that's going to be their moment. They're just all of a sudden going to be real popular. I promise you, it does not work like that. I've watched tons of local podcasters, and some of them have massive followings, but nobody's interested in working with them. We need to change that. This is an incredibly powerful platform. We can talk to people from all over the world here, and businesses recognize that. The President of the United States recognizes that. So let's get loud about it. Let's create some cool stuff. Let's actually do some good in our community, kind of like our buddy Erik here, and let's stabilize the system. Let's all boats rise together with the tide. That's my message today. All right, I'm getting off my soapbox. Thank y'all so much for listening to this episode. I think I already mentioned this, but we do the morning show Monday through Thursday at 9 o'clock. It's out to you guys first on the website, fortworthroots.com, and then I think about 10 minutes later it shows up on Spotify. But 5 episodes every week geared towards getting you informed with what's happening in your community. And listen, I'll be honest with you, I don't think I do a great job most days. I need your help. If there is a story out there that you need me to cover, do me a favor. Take a little audio recording. You can either do it through your Instagram Messenger app straight to Fort Worth Roots, or you can email it to us, media@fortworthroots.com. Just whatever is easiest to you. Hell, you can even pick up the phone. Dial our hotline number, which is in the show notes, 817-988-1292. Leave a little recording. We'll play it on the show. And that is doubly true for any of you guys that have a podcast or anything else. So like Erik could call in and leave a message just saying, hey guys, just wanted to remind everybody, one of the most dangerous times for an officer is whenever he's in the middle of a stop on a roadway. I don't know if you guys know this, but 90% of all officer fatalities happen due to the officer getting struck by a car during a stop. It's bullshit. Shouldn't happen. When you see those officers, whether it's a highway or street, you need to give them a wide berth. If you can't get out of their way, you need to slow way down. I mean, like cut your speed in half and then keep an eye out. Keep a foot over that brake or something. Yeah. Anyway, so that's just an idea. Erik could leave a message like that and we'd play it. And that's not just Erik, it's for all of you. I'm doing it for you. Yeah. Let's all eat. Let's all make things happen together and stuff. Or whatnot. Okay, let's get into these sponsors. We talked about Donovan Manufacturing at the beginning of the show. It's DonovanMFG.com, night vision thermals, machine gun rentals, AR-15 parts, classes, and more. Also under the same umbrella, all your print needs through our friends, banners, vehicle wraps, business cards, brochures, T-shirts, and anything else you might need. Find them on Facebook as Dylan-Press for their print stuff. Or you can just email them, dylan@dylan-press.com. Listen, the goal of Donovan Manufacturing is to provide the best equipment and training to professionals by professionals. And so they are always trying to work with local police departments and all that good stuff. So hit them up. These guys are the shit. We love them. DonovanMFG.com. Purple Web Consulting, our buddy Jeff over there at purplewebconsulting.com has my website ready. And as soon as I get back from the desert, I'm going to go see him. We're going to get that website launched, man. He's just waiting on me. It's really pathetic, but people be busy out here in the streets. Website design and hosting, e-commerce integration, digital strategy, and consulting, making modern business tools accessible to the small business owner so they can compete with the big dogs. 817-629-6069, Purple Web Consulting. Fort Worth Float Company, find them on Instagram as FW Float Company. It's your only solution, in my opinion, your only local solution for sensory deprivation tanks, cold plunge, sauna. They've also got a couple of other different treatment options for mental health and physical well-being. Go check them out on Instagram, Fort Worth Float Company. Hop in Fort Worth. It's where I'm at right now doing this recording. I do the intros and outros separately, BTW. And I'm sitting here at Hoppin'. It's a rad little spot, man. They just took all the big, gaudy booths out of the middle, and they replaced it with nice, comfy lounge furniture. And I've got my favorite couch. I'm sitting on it right now. That's a cool little spot. It is a self-serve tap room, 58 taps on the wall, ciders, THC seltzers, wine, and craft beer. Their cocktail bar is one of the best ones in town, and it is just a rad little spot. Y'all can do anything you want here. If you have a birthday party, a reunion, a wake, whatever, you got a big group of people and you want to do something in an air-conditioned environment, this place can hold like 250 people. It's excellent. Great patio. It's got a view of the downtown skyline, and it's right next to Doc's Records and Blackland Distillery. It's called Hoppin'. Come check it out. Davis Team, look no further than our friends at the Davis Team for all your property needs. No commitment necessary. If you have questions about property, then visit them online, yourdavisteam.com, or give them a call, 817-755-0504. I'm serious. If you're going to buy or sell a home, the reason that we picked these guys up, because they've sold 2 homes for me, and they helped us pick out our most recent home purchase. They aren't effing around. They know what they're doing. They have a team of 13 full-time real estate agents. Why does that matter? Well, ask around. A lot of these real estate agents, they've got jobs. They do other stuff, not the Davis Team. They are all committed to making sure that you get the most for your home when you're selling one, and that you get the good deal whenever you're buying your home. And they're just as professional as you could possibly get. Again, that's called the Davis Team, and they are online at yourdavisteam.com, and you can get them at 817-755-0504. It's in the show notes. Check it out. Galaxy Wilderness Disc Golf. Galaxy Wilderness is dedicated to promoting disc golf to the masses for its health benefits through outdoor therapy, exercise, and camaraderie. Find them on Facebook as Galaxy Wilderness Disc Golf, and their email is galaxywildernessdg@gmail.com. Phone number is 682-228-0399. They will bring all of the disc golf stuff out to you. Set it all up. You play your heart out. When you're done with it, they come pick it up, haul it away. They've also got nighttime glow-in-the-dark LED baskets as well, which are pretty dope. So make it a nighttime activity. Just watch your ankles. The Body Scrubbery on Instagram. This is our homie Michelle that always sits with us on our Monday morning episode. You can find them on Instagram as The Body Scrubbery. They're online at thebodyscrubbery.com. It's a boutique and unique spa experience. Don't cheat yourself, treat yourself. Luxury foot spa, full body scrubs, infrared heat wraps, massage, bubble tubs, mud wraps, facials, couples packages, and small group parties. This is your place for relaxation, and you need to check it out. It's over there off of Pennsylvania Avenue. And again, you can find them on Instagram, The Body Scrubbery. Eaton Data Solutions has taken a turn towards another business venture. We're getting some details together, but we just want to say thank you, Richard Eaton, for being a longtime supporter of the Fort Worth Roots podcast, and we are looking forward to helping you promote your new business venture. So we'll get some more details on that coming up very soon. Roofing Solutions by Darren Houck. Roofing Solutions can help with all your residential and commercial roofing needs. Roofing Solutions by Darren Houck is locally owned and operated, insured, and have the experience to carry out most roofing projects. RoofingSolutionsHouck.com is their website. Their phone number is 817-882-6520. And our homie Darren has asked me to let you guys know about the River Oaks Springfest Car Show. That is going down. Let's see here. Hold on. Let's talk about this police escort. So the River Oaks cops, the Popos, they are putting together a police escorted cruise. It's going to happen at 6 p.m. At Grump's Burgers. Man, if y'all ain't been in there to get some of those Grump's Burgers, that's a good place to get some food. I like it a lot. Nice people. This is happening Friday, April 18th, 6 p.m. at Grump's Burgers. You get to be in this convoy of vehicles, classic cars, motorcycles, whatnot, and just drive through the neighborhoods, escorted by the police. And the folks from the River Oaks community, they all come out of their houses and they wave at you. It's a thing. And it might sound silly, but it's a lot of fun. And it's a last-ditch effort to promote the Saturday, April the 19th car show, 10 a.m. out at Burgers Lake, 1200 Meandering Road, if y'all haven't been out to Burgers Lake. It's a really cool spot. They don't pay me, so I'll tell you, I ain't never getting in that water again, but it is a cool park. It's a great location for this. I just don't trust that water, man. I got in there one summer, and I was like, we ain't doing this again. But it's going to have over 300 classic cars, 100-plus vendor booths, live music, games, and fun for the whole family. You can find them on Facebook, facebook.com/RiverOaksSpringfest.com, or their own website, RiverOaksSpringfest.com. I asked Darren, I was like, you still need any vendors? And he's like, no, we're over that. We're done with that. So, anyway, it's going to be cool, man. It's always fun. I've been to every single one of these, but I'm not going to get to go this year because we are heading down. Let me tell you a little secret. Your boy's turning the big 4-0. I don't know how I feel about that yet. Apparently, we've got a friend, Bethany Malone. She is a colorectal surgeon, and they have moved up the date when you're supposed to get your b-hole looked at. Excuse me. I think it's 36 now. Like, colon cancer is a big deal, and it's getting worse. Anyway, I always grew up thinking it was 40, right? Well, I'm 40 now, and I might have to give my friend a call. Hey, Bethany, how you doing? I'm 40 now. Anyway, you didn't need to hear that, did you? So I'm not going to make it out to River Oaks Springfest Car Show was the point of all that, but we're going down to Big Bend National Park. We're going to spend some time down there with the Jerry Jonestown Massacre podcast, the Fort Worth Famous podcast. My co-host, Megan's going to be with us, and we're going to do a bunch of podcast recordings, take a bunch of videos and pictures, and just have a really rad time. And there's another surprise coming down the pipe while we're out there, but I can't tell you about it. Not yet. And I buried this deep in the episode, but yeah, there's one more big surprise. So anyway, very expensive surprise. There's more sponsors. But I hope you guys will enjoy that. It's a really fun trip, and we want to share that experience with you. And in my opinion, everybody should go down to Big Bend and Far West Texas at least once a year, man. It is, you have not seen Texas until you have seen that area of town. We're going to head out Big Bend, Terlingua, and Marfa. So, anyway, look forward to that. McFly's Pub, 6104 LTJG Barnett Road. A badass little 1980s Back to the Future themed bar with an excellent outdoor patio, complete with fire pit and room for your fur baby. They had 2 or 3 dogs there last night. Daily drink specials and fun activities almost every day of the week. See what's new at McFly's on their Instagram page at McFly's Pub. That's where we do our once a week, every Tuesday at 5 p.m. We have a live audience microphone set up. We record with a badass local artist, and then after we get done recording, they get on stage and play a little ditty for you. It's a lot of fun. We order pizza, and we try to do giveaways. For a long time, maybe 2 months, we've been doing Billy Bob ticket giveaways. I think we're done with that. I think we're not going to be doing that anymore. I don't want to do it. So we're going to give you guys something else. And honestly, it's a ticket with a time and a date on it, with a band you've never heard of. So I think for some people, it's like, yeah, I won Billy Bob's tickets. Huh. So anyway, we're going to do something else. We were doing cash prizes. We might go back to that. And I'm thinking about implementing the money gun. Yeah. But I want to get a crew of you guys out there every Tuesday, man. A lot of folks go to church. I don't really go to church. I believe in God. This was created by something far more powerful than any of us. But I don't go to church. I don't like churches. I go to McFly's Pub every Tuesday, and that's where my congregation meets. And I would love for you guys to come out and just be part of the community. 5 o'clock every Tuesday. Come on out. Now, wait a minute. Hold on. I just said that, and now I need to caveat. It's the first Tuesday I've missed since we kicked this off, and it's because we're going down for my pre-B-hole inspection birthday. So we will not be out there next Tuesday. It's the first time that's ever happened. And if I get enough of you guys out there, and we need to start doing have somebody jump in there whenever I'm going to be out of town or something, we can do that. But I need help. I do need some help. So anyway, if you got a cool idea for how you could get into this Fort Worth Roots thing with me and help me build this to be more impactful in our community, I'm ears wide open. Tres Amigos Tacos and Tequila, TresAmigosTacosandTequila.com. Chef Sandy brings a fresh perspective of culinary experience to Tres Amigos, continuing the spirit of female-led entrepreneurship and the culinary excellence that Chef Paul was known for. This is a great little spot. If you're in Fort Worth and you're looking for some Mexican delicacies, it's one of the stops. So make sure you check it out. Tres Amigos on Magnolia, is it Boulevard? What is that? Magnolia Avenue. It's right next to the Boiled Owl, and it's a good spot, man. Great bar, really nice people, and they need your support. Chef Sandy out there just slanging tacos all day. She's waiting for you to come by and say hi. Cloudland Recording Studios, our buddy Joe Tacky out there, doing all sorts of wizardy, magical, musical stuff. Cloudland Recording Studio is an analog and digital recording studio located in the heart of Fort Worth. We are just 1 mile from downtown and 5 minutes from near Southside Entertainment District of Magnolia Avenue. And I need to get out there and do a little video with Joe Tacky so people can see us hanging out and how cool it is in there. Cloudland Recording Studios. Find them online at cloudlandrecordingstudio.com. Baez Maintenance Services, BAEZ Maintenance.com, 817-528-3056. BMS is family owned and operated, providing professional commercial cleaning services to establishments throughout DFW. With client satisfaction as a primary goal, high quality maintenance is available as frequently as requested. This includes a 24-hour support system, which guarantees a quick response. Since our beginning in 2017, there have only been one major goal here at BMS: customer satisfaction. It's cool people, and they're here supporting the Fort Worth Roots, and we really appreciate those guys. If you have a business around town, then you need a cleaning service. Absolutely. So give them a shot. BAEZMaintenance.com. And we need to get out there and do a video with them as well. I've been hitting them up, and it's the same thing. We're all busy, and so when those two things align, we'll get out there. We'll get out there and do a little video with them. But we do appreciate your support, Baez Maintenance Services, and you let us know whenever we can get out there and do a video with you. Okie dokie. And, of course, Hop in Fort Worth, our morning show, Monday through Thursday. I took this outro way too far, and you're still listening. I love you for that. Thank you. Genuinely. I don't say it enough. I hope I say it a lot and it's still not enough. I'm just overwhelmed with gratitude every time we win an award or get any kind of public recognition that shows us that you guys appreciate the show. Thank you. We actually picked up another award today from some organization called FeedSpot. They did a top 30 Fort Worth podcast list, and we were number 2. And I think the whole list was kind of bullshit. Because obviously we should have been number 1, but the list was just, it was ridiculous. Like some of the names on there, you're like, that doesn't make sense. So I question the validity of this list, but nevertheless, it's another award, and I appreciate it. So, by the way, since you're still listening, and that makes you a mega fan, if you would like to, the Fort Worth Magazine closes their polls on May 3rd for Best of. Fort Worth Magazine does this every year, and we won last year. You guys voted us in. You voted for Fort Worth Roots as the best podcast. There's some subcategories there. I'm going to make a post on our Instagram so you know where to go, but it's like radio personality or something like that. I think it was like entertainment, radio personality, and then you can kind of just, I think you just type it in, Fort Worth Roots podcast. So anyway, I think if you vote for us and it's in the wrong category, they'd probably still count it, but whatever. We've already won so many daggum awards, but it's always nice to win more. So if you got time, stop on by Fort Worth Magazine online and find their best of competition. I've got a link in our Instagram, I believe. If not, I'm going to put it in there right now. Okay, that's enough out of me. We are going to do some pre-recordings for next week so that you guys have something to listen to on your way to work. And I'll have that scheduled for release, so it should do it automatically. I don't think we're going to bother with video next week. Maybe we won't do that. Anyway, we'll figure it out. Thank you again for all of your support, and please, we'd love to hear from you. You can leave us a message telling us what you like about the show, what you don't like about the show, and then email it to us, media@fortworthroots.com. All right, folks, that is enough talking out of me. Go follow 2cops_1donut on Instagram, and I will see you on the next one. Thank you, guys. See you.